Sportz Nutz. We coming live tonight. It is a beautiful night here in Easley, South Carolina. I got to go ahead and just put a brag out there that we hit the midnight 80s today. It was very comfortable. Y'all, my girls graduated from school. It's summertime. Anyways, let's get beyond past all that one. Y'all, we're so thrilled to have you guys here watching us take on another adventure today. This is episode 9. We got a lot of good content for you going on. Before we get any further, though, I want to introduce my crew. We are missing one right now. He's coming. Don't worry. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Greg, will be coming soon. Don't worry. He's got a good little story he wants to share with you guys. So we're going to throw it to my man over on my right, which is y'all's in here. My man, Shane. Shane, say what's up to everybody, man, and kind of give a little rundown of your background there, buddy.
Oh, man, a pleasure coming to y'all finally once again from hometown, small town, Sherrall, South Carolina, finally back home. Appreciate y'all watching while I was down in Charleston. Did a couple things since I left. Put a couple pieces of memorabilia. Of course, got Chipper up there. Got an official Tiger rag that I got with a buddy at one of the games. Carolina seat we got at a game one time, and then of course I got the Vic jersey back there. Hey, it's a throwback, true 2000s Vic jersey back there. So shout out to the Hokies.
Nothing wrong with that one, y'all. I'm not going to exclude this man here. This man right here, he is down. Actually, he's right here on my end. This is the man. This is JD. J Dizzle. Say what's up to the folks, y'all.
Hey, everybody. What is percolating on this wonderful evening? We are coming to you live from South Carolina. Hey, man, South Carolina, it's coming up in the episode. We might mention a few things about the state of South Carolina. Man, Brandon, we are going to talk some O-word, some Olympics, maybe? What? Say what?
Yeah,
man, we've got all kind of great things to listen coming to you now. Hey, I got to give a shout out, though, to Elon Musk or Twitter or anybody out there that's listening. Listen, we just got Shane O'Mac, 1240, man. We just got my man a brand new handle. And I'm telling you, within less than 6 hours, he was suspended for trying to emulate or copy someone. I mean, we don't know at this point, but he already had one suspended. We couldn't even unlock that one. So we created a whole new email, and man, we did all this stuff. So shout out to Elon Musk, any tech wizard, I don't know, anybody out there listening, can y'all please help my man get unsuspended? He is not a robot, all right? He's not a robot. He is a real person. Shane O'Mac, 1240. Can we please get him on Twitter?
Please. Exactly. It's kind of funny how you got literally, we had been figuring this out. First, it was Shane and JD, then it was JD, and then it was me trying to get it set up. And we finally got it set up. And then I think maybe 2 hours after I had it set up, I got a text from JD saying Shane's already blocked and suspended from Twitter. I'm like, what? And so I had to go look this up. He's impersonating.
Right. Well, hold up, time out. Maybe that's the issue. Hold on. Let me correct myself. Elon Musk or anyone at x.com. All right. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe we keep calling it Twitter. So, hey, x.com. Anybody, Elon Musk,
in the house.
Please help my man get unsuspended from Twitter. My Lord, it's been a crazy story, man. And hey, we're going to talk about plenty more of them. I can't wait. America, Gamecocks. Let's go, baby.
Our man Shane Barrett, who actually visited Cole and Diesel today at their live on location in Ingalls Markets. Shane, man, I wish you could have stepped in and said, hey, can I see you guys around the camera? But hey, it's okay. I'm just happy you're here. I see we've got quite a few people coming in. We were supposed to have a special guest. His name is Braden Fajoko. He is the defensive lineman for the Pittsburgh Steelers, family friend. He is from the state of Hawaii. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to make it because he's got training camp getting ready to come up. And it was kind of last minute that I asked him. He said there was a possibility, but he didn't. But he did say he sends his love to everybody, all the fans out there. He will come on soon, and We're looking forward to it. Like I said, we are going to have our man Greg coming soon. Greg, as you guys know, doesn't sleep. He runs 1,000,000 miles a minute. Y'all, I don't know if you saw this, but JD, Shane, myself, Greg, we have all posted that we now have some merchandise starting up. Whoop, whoop. I did order my shirt, so it will be here, I believe, tomorrow, actually. So I'm excited about that. So if you have any questions with regards to how to order your Sportz Nutz shirts, when Greg comes on, he will be happy to share. So you get the latest merchandise. We are getting car decals out as well. JD, tell everybody how good these car decals look. I sent you what they look like.
Hey, dude, they're beautiful. Just like this whole episode of the Sportz Nutz coming at you here. Hey, I don't think we gave you our handles. I mean, I know we gave you Shane's. Mine is JD Wyatt06. Find me on Twitter, on Facebook. Hey, and you can find us at the Sportz Nutz, man. We have a whole YouTube page at the Sportz Nutz 176. You got to make sure to put the @ symbol at the front of Sportz Nutz for that one. But yeah, we've got a whole new website, man. And I don't know if
right
y'all
there. Look, it's coming on the screen right there.
Yeah.
It's called the
it's right here.
nuttysports.com.
There you go, baby. Hey, right here. Everything you need to see is at the bottom of the screen all the time. And Greg, I don't know if y'all saw his short the other day, but he had a Sportz Nut t-shirt on. You can go get you one for just a flat $20, man. Help us out. You know, it goes to a good cause, whatever we can do to help. And Shane, as a matter of fact, he's got a couple of surprises coming soon. And it'll also have our emblem. The only thing, those decals, I told you I like that gray. You know, I'm a big gray guy. I wear a lot of gray. I saw that gray background and Brandon was like, oh, no, that's not really there. And I was like, no, shucks. But it's still beautiful either way.
Guys, I'm going to show you this. It is official. The Sportz Nutz business cards are in. Well, mine is. JD's will be here on Friday. Shane and Greg's will be here on Tuesday. So it's coming. So you guys, we got a great show lined up. Are you guys ready to start talking about the show or what?
Hey, let's go.
Hey, I've been ready since we got off the last time.
Hey, let's get it. All right. Y'all, finally, the world is coming back in alignment. You know why? The NFL training camp schedules are set to be released within the next few weeks. So what does that mean? Guys, we are just one more step away from the NFL returning, which again means the world is right. I don't know about you, but when I start seeing stuff with football, I start getting giddy. I start smiling. I start getting happy. I start doing my little dance. Everything just feels right to me when you got NFL and you got college football coming back together. Yes, we have the UFL. I'm not really big on that one. I'm sorry. I tried. I can't watch it. I know Greg wants to go and see or watch the Birmingham Stallions. I can't do it, unfortunately. It's okay, though. You know, I'm okay with that. So now, look, football has always been a passion of mine. I played football, and I do remember the level of excitement you started to get when football workouts came along, when the meetings started coming, even the OTAs started happening. That was actually the most fun, was the OTAs. We do know one thing about an NFL team's training camp schedule, and it's not the best news for the South, for the Dirty Bird fans. The Atlanta Falcons aren't having a training camp open to the public this year, but it's not because of COVID or anything like that. It's actually because they are having construction being held at Flowery Branch, which is the home where they're at. They do, however, are going to have 2 open dates to the public for training camp. One will be July 27th. It will be at Sickinger High School in Buford, Georgia. Greg knows where that is. So if you have questions, definitely ask him. He will be happy to tell you where it's at. And the second one will be August the 2nd, and it will be the annual training camp at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Now, obviously, we do have other teams that are set to come. You know, Carolina Panthers are actually supposed to come out in the next week or two, from what I've heard. I don't know if it's true because it is Dave Tepper. So, we were going to start with Greg, but you know what? We're going to start with Shane first. Shane, do you have that, that itch of excitement that football isn't too far away? And what does training camp mean to you exactly? Do you get like excited like a little kid at Christmas time or at a candy store? Let me know. Let us know. Come on, I want to hear you from you, man.
Man, guys, when this topic was brought up that we were going to talk about it, my anticipation level just went through the roof. I'm giddy. I'm a football lover and a football fan from the heart. And look, we're only 94 days away from college football right now. We're only 106 days away from the NFL kickoff. I mean, we are literally almost 3 months. That's what we're looking at, 3 months before we have live football back in the fall. It only intensifies and increases the closer we get to these days, especially with the NFL training camps and the OTAs coming up here lately. I enjoy watching the rookies and, what so-called old faces and new places. That's the one thing that I look forward to in all the training camps coming about. You look at the old faces, new places. What's Russell Wilson going to do in Pittsburgh? Saquon Barkley in Philly. I mean, I know those are two Pennsylvania teams, but they made some of the biggest moves this offseason in who they brought in and what they already have. So I'm really interested to see that. As far as the rookies go, I'm interested to see, hey, Falcons fans, where does Michael Penix fit in with this system and how does this team rally around what they already had and bringing in this caliber of player when they obviously had other opportunity to get somebody else that maybe could help them at a different position at this time. That's on the, NFL ranks. That's what I look forward to. Now, when we're talking about college football, hey, I'm from a small town in the mountains of Virginia, grew up 15 minutes away from Blacksburg, home of the Virginia Tech Hokies, God's country, probably some of the prettiest places that you'll ever see is on that campus. If you get a chance, please, Sportz Nutz, Mixed Nuts, go check it out. It's an awesome environment. That's the big thing about college football. The environments make the everything go better. The inner Sandmans, the sandstorms, the running down the hill, Howard's Rock. You have all these traditions and stuff, and it only intensifies the closer we get to this season.
Exactly. It feels like the world is just coming to an alignment, getting better. It's just something you can't. It's hard to describe that feeling you get of, oh my God, football is only. Yes, it's still 3 months away, but you know what though? That comes by really fast, and when it gets here, it goes by even faster. I'm excited. I'm beyond excited. We have another good person who's going to tell us about their level of excitement. JD, share with everybody, what does training camp mean to you, and what are you looking forward to most?
So, yeah, there's a few things you were just mentioning, getting so excited at this time of year, and that is kind of the beauty of it. I mean, I just mentioned to you the other day, we were talking about, hey, as of right now, the Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers are both tied for the NFC South lead at 0-0, baby. So as of right now, yeah, I mean, it's great. All of the NFL fan bases, they all have hope. They all have, their rookies that they want to see if they were worth drafting. I mean, and yeah, we've heard about great stories and stuff already. I mean, people are already raving about Gamecock. Spencer Rattler down there in New Orleans. I said he would be a steal in the second or third round. Of course, he was a steal in the fifth round. And so for the training camps and stuff, I'm excited to see, how my college players are going to do. I've got Xavier Legette. I'm a Carolina Panther fan as well. And so I'm going to tie that all in together. So, yeah, I'm excited to see Xavier Legette. I'm excited to see, hopefully, Bryce Young develop under this new head coach. But, yeah, I mean, that's the great thing about it all now is we don't have any video or film to watch. So we can just talk about what we would like to see and what we hope to see. And, yeah, it makes us happy. Makes us all itchy and warm and fuzzy inside. It makes you say stupid things like the Panthers can go 9-8 and get a wild card. I mean, there's going to be even from my Gamecock side of it, I mean, I've got people already saying Lenora Sellers is going to be a top 5 quarterback in the SEC. And so, yeah, for training camp stuff, man, I was here in Spartanburg, so Carolina Panthers, training camp was a big deal. In 2008, I worked in a restaurant, Copper River Grill. Shameless shout out there.
That's where we had our rehearsal dinner. So, yeah, we know Copper River very well.
But, hey, man, I rubbed shoulders at that point with Julius Peppers, Muhsin Muhammad, Jake Delhomme, John Fox. Like, all those guys were sitting in that restaurant. And like Shane just mentioned, small towns. I came from a small town of less than 250 population. And we would have double that in this restaurant at any given time. And so, yeah, me going from like little old Podunk, Cross Hills, South Carolina to, being at Carolina Panthers training camp where all these NFL players are coming to eat at, man, it's hard not to get excited about this stuff. And that's why the NFL rules.
Hey, I like that. Our man, the myth, the legend himself. Look at the fly gear he's got on.
Hey, we was just talking about that T-shirt. We was just talking about it, bro. We was just talking about it. Love it. Got one Greg, on the way.
I'm going to throw it to you. I want to know, what does training camp mean to you, and how excited are you knowing that training camp is literally knocking on the door? Also, show everybody that gorgeous shirt, brother.
Look at that right there. It's the Sportz. Hey, it's an official shirt. I'm gonna have a link up here in just a moment. I'm gonna post it in the chat. But man, first off, can you hear me okay? Because
yes,
my headset broke, like legitimately broke as I'm logging into this thing, and I'm like, wow. So I apologize if you can't hear me too well. But to answer your question, what does it mean to me? It's kind of like spring training. To me, spring training for baseball is more exciting, but with football, it gives everybody hope. It's kind of that type of thing, like you were just talking about, JD. Everybody's on an even playing field. Everybody's undefeated. Like right now, we're all undefeated.
Yeah, we all tied for the NFC South.
100%, and it's across the board, right? Everybody has optimism. Jets fans have optimism. Even Panthers fans have a little bit of optimism. So it's like, everybody comes into it and everybody starts looking through it through rose-colored glasses going, man, my team's going to be great. Last year, let me just rewind to last year. In training camp, this time and as we moved through this, into the preseason, all the Falcons players are coming out saying Desmond Ritter's doing so well and all this, and you start reading into it. And this is where you start reading the tea leaves, right? You start paying attention. What are players saying? Again, jumping back to last year, I looked at my buddy and I said, Desmond Ritter sucks. He goes, why you say that? I said, when's the last time you saw a QB have all these players come to his defense before anything has happened? I said, so now I knew going into the season, we're going to have a trash QB. So as we get into training camp, that's what I kind of enjoy. I like the stories. It's not even about what happens at camp. It's just about the stories that come out of it. When the teams get together and they have their own scrimmages, what kind of confrontation do they have? What kind of reports come out? How's the quarterback throwing the ball? Especially these teams that have new quarterbacks in the system. The Falcons, there's all kinds of questions about my home team Falcons. How's Cousins going to do? What do they do with Penix? How's that going to be managed throughout training camp? So many storylines coming into it. Looking at the Texans, how is their team going to respond coming off of last year? And that's where you start to get all these little news bits and all these little tidbits out of training camp, because the press has nothing else to do. Nope. Nobody does. It's kind of that all of the of MLB. You have the NBA, but once you get training camp going, they're sitting around going, what can we talk about? Oh, let's talk about this. And right now, what are you seeing on TikTok? What are you seeing everywhere? You're seeing nothing but
Rodgers and Wilson.
Yeah,
Rodgers and Wilson.
Exactly.
That's all I'm seeing right now.
Exactly. That's all you're seeing is Rodgers and Wilson. You don't.
Hey, we could just do that bland thing like everybody else does. Just talk about the GOAT of this or the GOAT of that, or what's your top 5 this or your top 5 that. But guess what? The Sportz Nutz, we're gonna give you something a little different. That was a great perspective from all of us, though. But I can't. Hey, I'm waiting for some more. We've got so many good conversations coming up, don't we? Right? Yep.
Oh, we do. We have a lot of So our man Greg, y'all, we're gonna switch it up because and also everybody is watching. I want to give a shout out to my buddy Chase. I know he's watching. Dirty Fanatics United, check him out. They got great Atlanta Falcons content. But Greg actually gave us a really good topic to talk about, and I'm excited to chime in on this one and hear everybody's take on it. Greg, I'm gonna throw it to you. Let's talk about the NBA youth movement, my friend. The floor is yours. We want to hear it, man. Let's go.
So here's what's interesting. Look at your top 15 high-paid players. You got Curry, you got LeBron, you got Paul George, you got Jimmy Butler, you got all these different dudes. You realize only one player is still in the playoffs? Only one. Only one player of the top 15 is still in the playoffs. And that's Rudy. That's kind of weird, right? I mean, you don't have your superstars. You don't have Durant. You don't have LeBron. You don't have Curry. You don't have these guys who've been around, who've been that stalwart through the playoffs, into championship team runs. And you're starting to see that shift, or I believe we're starting to see that shift. So before I go too much deeper, I mean, what do you guys think? Do you see that shift happening away from these guys?
Absolutely. I do see the shift changing. What's up? Our boy Nick just chimed in. I see the shift that you're talking about. You don't have, you're right. You don't have your Klay Thompsons. You don't have your Steph Currys. You don't have your Trae Youngs. You don't have those big players who are they're still in the playoffs. I mean, you have two players on Minnesota's team right now that you can name off the top of your head. Ant-Man, Anthony, and then you also got Karl Anthony Towns. That's it. That's two people you can name on that team. But then let's look at the Dallas Mavericks. You have two players on there. Luka Doncic, then you also have Kyrie Irving. But then let's go to the Pacers. Who are the Pacers superstars on their team? Halliburton, that's it. Turner, maybe. You don't really have those big, oh my goodness, players, the super teams that they once had. So yeah, I see what you're saying, Greg. I want to hear more about what you think with the NBA youth is more to come, or are we going to see like a resurgence next year with old players, or what? I want to hear it, man. This is actually one of my favorite things to talk about is basketball. I'm a basketball nut. I love basketball. Anytime I get a chance to talk about basketball, let's go. I'm ready.
Well, I think what's interesting is if out of the guys who are out there, other than Dallas, I think the best chance is maybe Curry because of his role and because of his skill set is different. Like he can change. He doesn't need to be the scorer. I feel like LeBron doesn't bring that. LeBron needs to be that superstar. He needs to be that person. Curry, I think, can dip back into a role player if he needs to. But when you start looking across the board, I have another question, a little bit different take. This youth movement and this new quote-unquote NBA that we're falling into, is it good for the NBA or not? And I don't mean the game. So I'm not talking about the game itself. I'm not talking about the game on the floor. Is it good for the NBA? Because now, for the past 20 years, I could walk into the Quick Trip. I could walk into a Wawa. I could walk into a Buc-ee's and say, name me an NBA player. They'll name LeBron. They'll name KD. They'll name Kyrie. They'll name Curry. Take them off the board. Name an NBA player. Can they?
That's a good one.
I would love to jump in here if I could.
All right, Jamie, go ahead. I'm here.
I think I have a perspective that plays exactly into what you're talking about here, Greg. The NBA, and the way I almost phrased it in my notes, the way I was thinking about it is, to me, the NBA almost needs us. And I mean that from the perspective of they've got to do something to gain the demographic that they're about to lose when LeBron goes away. Because there's a large majority of the people like myself, I didn't watch the NBA, and I don't watch the NBA in the regular season, but then I watch LeBron in the playoffs. He's always been my favorite player, and I would watch a regular season game here and there. And so they do have a tremendous opportunity here, though. Man, if Ja Morant wouldn't have gotten into the trouble he got into and being a South Carolina guy, the NBA doesn't have many guys from South Carolina being superstars. Ja Morant and Zion Williamson, man, if he could stay on the court, those would be two tremendous guys. And I looked at actually the top 25 under 25 players. And everybody that's in the playoffs we just talked about. Doncic, under 25. Ant Edwards. You got Jason Tatum, Halliburton, Chet Holmgren, and Maxey. But, I mean, a few of those aren't in the playoffs. But there's a lot of young name superstars that they need to start selling and get them out in front of people to help grow the game after LeBron is gone, in my opinion.
So let me ask you a question.
I agree with it too. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. So you say young superstars, or are they just stars?
Right.
See, I like the
right
perspective
now
on that
stars.
Too, because
Hey, John Morant, had he not done what he was doing, he was on the path to superstardom, in my opinion.
Yes.
I mean, he was
I
dropping
agree.
ridiculous 35, 40-point games in the playoffs, winning series. I mean, he went head-to-head with LeBron, and, before all his issues with, videos and such on the internet or whatever. And then I think he got injured this past season, which would have been his comeback. But, yeah, I mean, no, they're not. But that's what I mean. They need us, but we need them to market those guys to us. So we'll be interested. You know what I mean? It's all about personalities and getting people sucked in.
Exactly. Shane, I want to hear your perspective on this too, because I know, you're a basketball guy. You're not as big of a basketball guy, but I know you are, because you said you do like talking about basketball. I want to hear, Greg asked a really good question. Is the NBA ready for the youth movement, or are we going to still sit back in the passenger seat and say,
I think the NBA is more than ready for the youth movement. Do I think the NBA fans are? No. We've been blessed with certain talent that we've been able to watch for so long and be so great and perform at such high level that nobody can comprehend for so many years. I mean, you look at LeBron. I mean, he's Tom Brady. Who thought he would go this long? Nobody did. So I think that the NBA as the association is ready for it to change hands. Do I think the NBA fan is? No. But when you bring up, AE, you got Brunson, John Morant, that anybody under the age of 27, what it is, everybody's been creating these super teams. And, hey, it's been great. It's been great basketball to watch, watching players compete with each other and against each other at such a high level. But now we're actually watching the NBA and how it should be, with all this youth movement coming in and all the super teams kind of fading out. Do I still think we will see super teams? Yes. But do I think that the talent of the younger generation can carry the NBA to a higher standard when it comes to playoff basketball? And that's all it is getting these young guys on playoff teams that go deeper into the playoffs, to where people watch basketball deeper into the playoffs. I don't watch it, regularly during the year, but hey, playoffs, I'm 100% into it. So
yeah, absolutely. It's got that extra oomph to it, in the playoffs.
Right. Hey, and Brent, if I could, I wanted to say one more thing that Shane just kind of chimed in on, and I'll be real quick here. That is one thing that could help get us back in, and that's one thing that Ant Edwards and those guys did with the Wolves against the Nuggets. They gave up, 32 points in the second half of that Game 7 to come back from 20 down, and that was the great thing about LeBron when he first started. He was doing it on both ends of the floor. And so NBA fans, they don't want to see just offense, man. We want to see defense. We want to see chippiness.
Yes,
we don't
amen
want
to
to
that
see
one.
LeBron whining when he gets slapped on the wrist.
And you made a great point of that with regards to defense, because, we grew up in the era of the no, it's not my house. You grew up and you had the Detroit Pistons. That was the bad boy team. You had the Chicago Bulls. You had Patrick Ewing out there. You had David Robinson, Tim Duncan. We had real defenders. We don't have that right now. Yes, we have Victor Wembanyama, but as of right now, he's not shown that he could be a true 5. He is more like a 4.5, is how I see it. A power forward center. He's not either or yet. And I think he can be. He's a center because of his height, but his style of play is power forward.
Yeah, that's all you see.
And and then I want to chime on this too with regards to the youth movement also, is the NBA is becoming more of an international market too. If you haven't noticed, Greg has dropped, he'll come back. But if you notice, the NBA has gone more international. Look at who was the number 1 pick last year, Victor Wembanyama of France. There is another player who is projected to come on from France again to go to the Atlanta Hawks for the number 1 pick, and that's Alex Sarr. So you have the international game is picking up steam. I think what we are seeing now is a change for the better of the game, because international basketball was never like the perennial all-star kind of watch. You had the Dream Team, you had Shaquille O'Neal's, Michael Jordan's, Larry Bird's, you had all those perennial players, and it was always USA basketball first, second, all the way to 10th, and then you started having other countries maybe pick up steam and start playing better. So I think we're in the right path as far as bringing more entertainment level for us. Greg, do you think that we are on the right path as well as seeing greatness happen for the NBA, or do you think that we're still missing a few pieces?
I think we're missing pieces. I think the game is going to be fine, but the game has changed. I mean, you see the points are so much higher, the 3-point shots, all these different things. It's become such an offensive game, and international players have changed it. And when you start to bring in these international players, and this is not a knock, but it is what it is, they're harder to market. You see it in Major League Baseball. It's harder to market. And that's where you start to lose that mainstream fan. You're going to have your core. The game is going to be fine. The game itself, what's on the court, is going to be fine. But I think that you're going to see a dip in the NBA's popularity. I really do. The NBA for years, going back to Magic and Bird, is when they had the issues and they started to market around their superstars. And if you talk to people today, and I know many of my friends are not a fan of a team, they're a fan of a player, and they follow that player from team to team. And I've had friends who've followed. One was a huge Garnett fan, and every team that Garnett went to, he had the jersey. And it's all good, right? That's how the NBA is structured. And I think sometimes it comes out to their detriment. But now, if they can't get these players to superstar status and that elite star status, like Shane said, we've been spoiled. You think the last 20 years, from Shaq to Kobe to KD to Kyrie to LeBron to Curry, all these
Dwayne Wade,
Dwayne Wade, Derrick Rose,
and you don't have it now.
No,
and so it's a little. It's not that the play is different, and please understand, I'm not saying that they're worse. They're not. They're just not as marketable, or they haven't marketed themselves as well. I'm not sure which it is.
Well,
and I agree with them too. Shane, what do you got to say?
Yeah, that's the thing. You look at it, they haven't had the chance to market themselves because we've had this opportunity to watch these great players for such a lengthy amount of time. Now, you put, like this year, there's been so much buzz around the playoffs this year, more than what I can actually remember within the past 10 years. We don't even have a current MVP that has sniffed the conference finals this year in the playoffs. It's a different world. And, to touch on the international prospect of things, they actually have the opportunity to play professionally before they even come over here in a lot of situations, which I believe in turn helps them develop into the players and the longevity that they create into the league. You look at Luka and Joker. They have, for the past 3-4 years, been some of the best players on the court at any given time. So I think that helps develop them. And I think that the overall marketing and globalness of the game is coming around. So I think that it's a little too early to jump that it might be detrimental to them. It's just, I think this is the time of a complete change in the NBA that I'm interested to see where it's going to go.
And so I'm going to push back on you, Shane. I'm going to push back. I totally disagree that they can't market themselves. In today's world, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, all this type of crap, they have every opportunity there is to market themselves. Now, if they choose not to do it, that's on them. And a lot of them have decided to go, through other ventures as far as business-wise. That's great. But at the end of the day, and I don't want to go down the whole WNBA class because we've talked about it so much, but right now the WNBA has superstars. And it's in a heartbeat, literally in a heartbeat, have turned around the perception of what is happening in that league. From ticket sales to sponsorships to even NIL deals or whatever you want to call it, immediately. And why? It's not because of all the skill. They got the skill. Angel Reese was a superstar before people knew how good she was because she knows how to market herself. And the same thing with Caitlin Clark and these others. That this group of guys within the NBA have had the opportunity. Do they decide to seize that opportunity? There's a few. Ant-Man is on that path. He's on that path. He gets it. He's got the charisma. He's got the it factor. And so you're going to see, I think he will be that next person that elevates himself. As long as his play stays up, he will be that superstar. He will be the face of the league because of that, simply that charisma and that star power he can bring through his social media, through the way he does his post-game interviews, the way he goes back and forth with even Charles Barkley and Shaq. You want to market yourself, have that banter. Have that banter where you get on those highlights on TNT. You get on those highlights, the best of Barkley, the best of Shaq. You have that. Come on, man. You got more opportunities now than ever to market yourself.
Yes. And
right.
Let JD chime because he wants to go with you on this one too, Greg.
Yeah. Well, I got points for both of you guys, really. I mean, Shane, you were just mentioning, more international prospects and all that stuff. And I think it's more of the international prospects' personality. And I'll just give you one prime example. Nikola Jokic, for example, from the Nuggets. My man has zero interest in being famous, popular, none of that. He literally just comes to play basketball. He's good and dominant at it. Won, 2 out of the last 3 MVPs. But my man just wants to go back and ride horses. And so I think getting out there and marketing yourself, I think the NBA could help themselves out by pushing some of their players to do that. But when their top players are, doing stupid things or getting injured all the time, I mean, it's something that the NBA, I think, needs to focus on more, though, gaining that audience back more so than the players. I mean, maybe rules changes. And then, like, the longevity. Yeah, we're spoiled. LeBron, KD, Steph. That's why NASCAR is so hard, too. We had all those greats for all that long period of time. Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson. And when they all disappeared. And so all this kind of ties in together to our next 2 topics, though, doesn't it, Brennan?
Yep. Yeah. So obviously we can talk this all day because, basketball is our love. It's our passion. But guys, let's kind of switch things up here. Everybody knows here, including our fans know, chime in on this as well in the stream, y'all. Paris is almost here. And when I say Paris is almost here, I'm talking about the Olympics, y'all. I mean, how exciting you get to say the Olympics are going to be here soon. I don't know how things are running y'all's house, but I can tell you in the Keeler household, we are diehard Olympics. Watch any and every Olympic match there is possible to watch. We love to talk about what has happened the day before, and we are pretty much glued to the TV the entire day when the Olympics are on. Obviously, now it's not as fun because in difference of time. I believe Paris is 7 hours ahead of us, so everything that we're going to see has already happened. So that's not going to be as fun, but it's still fun to be able to watch the Olympics. Now you got basketball, you got gymnastics, you got track and field, you've got all sorts of things. Greg, I'm gonna throw it to you. Give us the scoop. What is the 411 in the Troxel household when it comes to Olympic coverage? I want to hear it. So share with us, what is it like to be at the Troxel house when the Olympics are on?
So I wouldn't say it's a priority. It depends on the sport. And of course, when your kids or yourself have played a sport or have been a fan of the sport for a while, then the Summer Olympics becomes bigger. And, when they have baseball as a sport, or gymnastics, those things become bigger, and they become bigger in your household. And of course, as the United States does better, it becomes more prevalent. So I would say it's must-see TV. The opening ceremonies are, the closing ceremonies to an extent are, but the gymnastics, as that goes along, because throughout my household, we are fans of gymnastics. And I think that stems from me going to the Olympics back when it was here, the Magnificent Seven. So that's where my love came. And I had a huge crush on Dominique Dawes. Don't get it twisted. But anyway, as we keep moving through this, now that my daughter does a little bit of track and field, I know the high jump is going to become more prevalent as far as must-see TV within the household. She did the 4x200. That's going to become more prevalent because she has an interest. And as that interest is there, of course, that's going to bring my interest in. And I think that's what's cool, is that the Olympics brings something for everybody. But the cool, and can I jump back to when you said that about coverage?
Mm-hmm.
The coolest thing about today, it's 7 hours difference, but because we have so many options as far as streaming and so many different ways to watch it, this is the best time to watch the Olympics. They say the ratings have been down or whatever. Is it not? Because there's so many different ways to watch. So you can watch all this stuff live, and that's what's so cool if you want to get up at that time of the day. But it's cool to have that option. But I think this year, Summer Olympics will be a much more of a must-watch, must-see event in the Troxel household than it has been in the past.
All right, let's go to you, Shane. Shane, what is it like at your house when the Olympics are on? Or do you watch the Olympics the whole time? What? Because we hear what Greg has saying. I want to hear what you got to say about the Olympics, because, like I said, I love it. I think the Olympics are like the absolute must-watch, must-see TV. And our girls love to watch the Olympics. Shane, let's hear I want to hear what the Shane household is with regards to the Olympics.
Oh man, as you can tell, we watch any and everything here. So, we put it on the Olympics. I've got 2 spoiled rotten dogs that stay here while I go to work every day. And the only way that they don't misbehave at the house is if we keep the TV on for them. So they watch some sort of sports talk show throughout the day, and they seem to halfway behave most of the time. But the Olympics, it's a different thing around here, and in my opinion, just because, man, you have to be a 1 in 7 million people to even have a chance to be considered for one of the teams to represent your country in the greatest accumulation of sports on this planet that we've seen since the Greeks have done it from the beginning. I mean, that's one of the things. Track, like Greg said, he's getting into it. He'll learn. It is fun to watch. I enjoy all the track competitions and stuff like that. The 3-on-3 basketball coming to the Olympics. I'm
oh my God!
really
I know. Yeah, that's someone's going to watch that.
Really
I love watching those things. I like how, and and I'm not going to take away from the fact that we do have our traditional sports, but they're bringing other sports into it, and they're coming more to the times of sport. Back then they didn't have BMX, they didn't have skateboarding, but they have it in the Olympics now, which for a lot of us, that's kind of fun. That's actually a lot of fun to watch, because you see some of the greats who are getting to finally participate more than just doing the X Games, which I'm not knocking the X Games. X Games are a lot of fun to watch. I love watching the Winter X Games more than anything, just because, I like to snowboard. I snowboarded a lot when I was younger. I don't know if I can still do it because of the knee, but and the heart and everything. But y'all, it really, it's something special about it. And before I go to JD, I want to ask you guys this, and then we'll go to JD with all his concerns on this. Greg, do you think the Olympics will ever come back to Atlanta?
No.
What do you think? Do you think this year they'll come back to Atlanta?
I believe the Olympics in a whole and the way that it is done in other countries, especially nowadays, I don't believe that we're going to see a per se single city host the Olympics within the next 10 years, or well, 12 years, I guess you could say. It's not going to be a single city. You're going to see it multiple places, just like they did in Japan during the Winter Olympics. It was 3, 4 different cities, but and even when they did it in Brazil, they did the same thing. So I see it becoming more of that. And I mean, hey, you could have a Western region in the Olympics where LA, Las Vegas, you have those cities hosted, and then you have a Southwest like Atlanta, Dallas, Arizona. You have all them, or just a South region, Miami even. So you have opportunities with the way travel is now, and as many events that are hosted and could be prime timed in certain cities. I know it's hard to separate them out like that, but in a sense where we are, within a 4-hour flight travel from coast to coast, it doesn't make sense just to have it in one location anymore, to be able to
I can see that.
spread it out.
Now, Greg, I'm going to ask you, because you said no. I want to hear why you said no for Atlanta. And then, JD, we're going to have you tell us what it's like in the Wyatt household for the Olympics, and if you think it'll ever come to Atlanta. So, Greg, tell us why you think it will never come back to Atlanta.
I think because Atlanta made it fun. Atlanta made it a festival. Atlanta made it more than just the Olympics, and the Olympic Committee did not like that. And if you ever go back to what they said at the end, they've always said this was the greatest Olympics of all time, whether it was or not. They never said that about Atlanta. They didn't like what Atlanta did. Atlanta made it a street party. Atlanta made it a destination every single night. I was there every single night, not necessarily at an event. I was in Olympic Park. I was downtown. There was stuff going on everywhere downtown. It was a huge party.
I remember that.
That's not what they want. And I don't believe that they will bring it back because of that, unless they come back and go, wow, you know what? That really was a good idea. Because even when it was here, so to Shane's point, when it was here, there was stuff in Birmingham, there was stuff in Florida, there was stuff in Athens. They had spread it out, kind of like they did they're doing the World Cup here, right? And it's in Mexico, it's in Canada, and stuff. But I just can't see it coming back to Atlanta. I would love for it to, because I think Atlanta did a good job with it back then. I think Atlanta would do an even better job with it now, and could showcase this city in a different way. But I'm also cool with it not coming. Trust me.
The headache. Yes. All right,
hey,
JD.
Y'all had too many
let's
people
share
at
the
the
White
volleyball tournament the other day, bro. No, hey, y'all don't want those problems.
Let's now, JD. I want to hear about what the Olympics is like at the Wyatt household. What the Olympics mean to you, and then do you think that the Olympics will ever come back to Atlanta?
Hey, who? Hey, no. Paxton, come here. You're good. Hey, hey, I'll tell you what things are like in the Wyatt household right now. Paxton, night. So, hey, sorry for a little detour. Say night. Night. All right.
Night, Pax.
Say night, Uncle Poop. Night, Brandon. Night, Brandon. Night,
love
Greg.
you.
So, hey, yeah, that is what things are like in the Wyatt household. But during the Olympic time, I will try to have the TV on. But I'm glad I did not put my name as just delightful this evening, because I've come to be just a Debbie Downer about the Olympics. I'm not interested in them, really. I mean, granted, they are some of the best sports. I mean, can you imagine the first person to ever imagine, hey, let's race against each other running and see who's faster? I mean, did they start out at like a brisk walk? Or like what, how did it even come to happen that somebody discovered they could run or jump this far and land their feet in the sand? Like, to me, that is interesting, and I try to watch it. I'll try to be more interested in it, but I'm more concerned about how I'm like, if it were baseball, Olympic baseball, I'd be all in. And because it's in the summer, none of the best athletes ever get to participate. And that's kind of like the same thing with the World Cup Greg just mentioned. And, like all the best athletes go compete, though, in the World Cup. They all go compete in the Olympics. And that's not the case with baseball. And so there's a different global 3 than there is American 3 or from the US. So globally, you could say that basketball and baseball are, 2 of the biggest sports. And then third would be football. But in America, it would be football de l'American, football of the Americas. And so my one question though is, do you guys, with the growth of, NFL and trying to broaden, do you ever think that football could be an Olympic sport?
I don't think it would, just because you're limited on all your days that you have for the Olympic events. And when you look at these NFL teams, you look at teams, you really do need a full week's worth of practice, scrimmage, working on plays, working on with regards to your formations and stuff. It's very hard to do. I can attest to how hard it is, because we would do practice 5 days a week, and that was including Friday morning, and we had games on Friday nights. It was a lot of work to do. Now, do I think a version of football could come into the Olympics? Absolutely. I would not be opposed to seeing flag football come to the NFL, because you don't need to work as much to get everything down. Now, you doesn't mean you do have to work at it, but I think not as hard. What do you think, Greg?
I disagree with the fact that you don't have to work as hard. I disagree with that. I think the biggest issue with American football coming into the Olympics, one, we're too dominant. It's not prevalent enough in any other country across the world. Two, you have to give these guys time to recover. And the Olympics is 2 weeks. So there's no way to do a true tournament for football and allow them to recover. So I can't see it from that perspective. I mean, you think about now the guys go from Sunday to Thursday, and they're like, oh my gosh. And that's
right.
Just, yeah, there's just no way to do it.
So with that perspective, then here, let me ask this then. Do you ever see a point where the NFL would get to be so globally renowned that they could potentially be bigger than the Olympics? Maybe would be a better way? Because, I mean, they're already expanding to like Germany, Europe, England, all those kind of places. So do you ever think it could expand to that range, or do you think the NFL will essentially stay mostly centralized here in the States?
Well,
so I think that's a great question.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah. I think, as what you're talking, it's going to expand to that level, and it's probably going to bring the Olympic Committee to that point of, hey, what can we adopt in this sport to be able to make us prevalent? I mean, if you look at it, the Olympics just around the corner. It's still right there, right before OTAs, training camps. I mean, it's still before the football season starts. I could see, like Brandon was saying, not necessarily a flag football adaptation, but look how many 7-on-7 tournaments there are in high school and all these scouting combines that they have now. What if that could be adapted into an actual sport, into an Olympic sport, to be able to showcase the athletes from these other countries that don't necessarily get showcased, because, hey, Germany, Australia, as JD said, there's multiple different outlets that American football is played on that in some sort of way could be brought to the forefront and permitted into a global culture at that point, and I mean, like JD said, looking at baseball, I mean, this Olympics doesn't even have baseball, softball, or karate in it because of all the different changes. Now, I love to see golf back in it. I mean, I'm an avid fan. It's interesting to watch how they construct all the matches in the golf ranks and stuff, with it being a new sport to the Olympics. But it's one of those things that I think the Olympic Committee is going to sit back in a few years and look at and further the growth of global sports in general.
Okay, now I can understand what you're saying there. With regards to like what JD's wanting to know, like if it could grow because American football is on a more global stance. JD, I don't know if you remember the NFL Europa. Actually, at one time, there were teams who were attached to NFL franchises who had international international teams. I mean, Kurt Warner played on a couple international teams in NFL Europa. So it's there, the desire to have international football take place in other countries, be more and also be more profitable is there. It's absolutely there. You know, Shah Khan, the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, he actually, had he not gotten approved this year for that stadium improvement, they call it the Stadium Tomorrow in Jacksonville, he was going to move the team to London. There's still this talks. He may still actually move the team. But, you know, that's obviously another conversation for another day on that one. JD, do you see the Olympics, if not Atlanta, what about on the East Coast? Because you know it's going to the West Coast, and I believe LA is the next to host the Olympics, if I'm not mistaken. Do you see it coming back to the East Coast?
No, I mean, I don't think they would come back to Atlanta. I mean, yeah, if I saw anything, my best guess would probably be Miami. If I had to pick anything east or southeast, I mean, there's nothing off the top of my head. I mean, you think of the cities on the East Coast, you know, New York, Boston, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. I mean, even if you go into Michigan, Ohio, you're looking at, you know, Detroit or Cleveland. So, no, I mean, unless it's like a Winter Olympics, maybe. I could see Winter Olympics going up to, you know, Michigan or Green Bay or, you know, somewhere along those lines potentially. But no, I mean, I think everybody's trying to stay away from us, honestly.
Now, I can understand that one. So I don't want to spend too much more time on that one because I got a really good topic I want to talk about. And I'm actually going to have JD is going to be the one to talk about this to start. And then Shane is going to chime in with him as well. Let's talk some NASCAR. Guys, we cannot forget to mention this. Now, again, we're not going to spend too much time on it. But, guys, two big things happened this past week in NASCAR. You had a really interesting fight happen. And then you had a guy flying around the track like he was on Speedy Gonzalez on a cartoon. JD, I want you to tell the fans, all of our watchers on the stream, all 32 people, everything that are watching, tell us about the fight and tell us about the Speedy Gonzalez guy running around the track.
Yeah, well, first, I'm gonna tell you probably about two Speedy Gonzalez's guys, but yeah, let me bring everybody to the racetrack real quick. So, gentlemen, husbands, boyfriends, whatever. I don't know if you guys have ever, walked up to a door frame and, kind of propped up to it like this before. But after Sunday night's race at North Wilkesboro, that is exactly the stance that Mr. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had taken while waiting on Kyle Busch to come back from his 10th place finish after just climbing out of his car. And so let me take you back to lap 1. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. started behind Kyle Busch, and Kyle Busch slid a little bit outside. So Ricky Stenhouse, knowing that there were not going to be many cautions or restarts in this particular short race for $1 million, no less, 200 laps, 200 laps, 20 drivers, $1 million for the winner. All right, this is what this race was. And so Ricky Stenhouse, he was trying to take advantage of the situation. And as far as I could tell, he never even touched Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch, probably deserved to get what he got. He should have held his car down, and Ricky Stenhouse couldn't have got under him to begin with. But Kyle Busch got into the wall, and he saw it as Ricky Stenhouse's fault. And so Kyle Busch went pedal to the metal for the next lap, doing whatever he could. His intention was to wreck Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and man, did he do it finally. So Ricky Stenhouse Jr., after the wreck, he was PO'd, as any man in his right mind would be. You just ruined my chance at $1 million. I had a 5% chance at $1 million. And you wrecked me on lap 1 to finish in 10th place, Kyle Busch. Yes, sir. You bet I'm waiting on you at the hall or after the race. So, like I said, Mr. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he done went and got his gym shorts on, his T-shirt on. And unfortunately, we didn't get to hear a whole lot of the conversation. I know that Kyle Busch said, hey, I suck as much as you do right now. But Ricky Stenhouse, man, he was not going to waste an opportunity to punch my man in the face. Bah! And we had a fight. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he got a $75,000 fine. Ricky Stenhouse Sr. and 2 crew members are suspended. And, man, this is what makes NASCAR NASCAR. I mean, I know it's never cool to fight anybody. I'm never going to teach my kids that. I mean, Tripp, he walks up to me and hits me all the time, and I tell him no. So I'm not condoning fighting. But from an entertainment perspective, I mean, hey, it was the Sportz Nutz material.
Did you get your popcorn ready?
Oh, yeah. As soon as he parked in his pit stall, bro, I knew it was on. As soon as he parked his wrecked car in front of Kyle Busch's crew chief and went and talked to his car and team, oh, I knew it was on. I knew it was on.
Shane, give us a little more perspective that you saw for this fight, and as well as the Indy 500 Speedy Gonzalez guy.
Oh yeah, man. It's great. I just came back from the Darlington race a couple weeks ago. I completely enjoyed it. It was a long race. Brad Keselowski winning first time in a long time. It was great to see. Then I was at the first race at North Wilkesboro last year. I was interested to see the repave this year. What Goodyear did with the soft and the hard tires to try to switch it up. Hey, that's gonna come. Maybe look for it in the NASCAR playoffs, just as a FYI, because I think it could get interesting and give people opportunity to win at that point. The fight, man, you close people up in a bull ring and put $1 million on the line. It doesn't matter who it is, these are professional athletes that we're talking about, because it does take a lot to get in that NASCAR and go around that track. Everybody says all they do is turn left. Well, they pull just as many G's as an airplane pilot in the Air Force at most points during some tracks. So, hey, they've got to be in a great physical condition. With that being said, I mean, you look at it, Kyle Larson is going to try to do 1,100 miles this Sunday, Memorial Day weekend, trying to do the double, do the Indy 500 during the day, and then fly all the way to Charlotte and run 600 miles at Charlotte Motor Speedway there from 5 o'clock. I've been there since 1 o'clock in the morning watching the race before, so it can be a while. But he is so fast right now, and for him to this is one of his first times setting foot in a Indy car with other cars on the track, and he's qualified top five, fifth in qualifying. There have been 10 attempts. This will be the 10th attempt in the double. He is, in my perspective, if everything goes right, and I mean luck is on his side, that's what they all count on in a sport that takes a nanosecond to make a bad decision. They look at it, if he's lucky and completes all the laps, he could be the second driver all time to ever complete the double on the lead lap. But he has as much talent and as fast as these cars are that he is running, could be the first person ever to complete top 10 both races.
Ooh, Greg, I want to hear you chime on this too, because I know you're a racing fan too. I'm kind of a mixed racing fan, but I want to hear what did you think of the fight? Do you think the fine fits the penalty, or fits the crime, I should say? And do you want to see something like that again in the next few races, kind of thing, where you have those rivals start to really develop?
So I'm going to go at it from a business perspective. As a fan as someone who used to be all into NASCAR, huge Dale Earnhardt fan, back in the day with Earnhardt, and then I became a huge Kevin Harvick fan and all that kind of stuff, right? Really fell off. This is what NASCAR needed. I mean, I'm just going to call it what it is. We talked about storylines for NBA. We've talked about storylines for other things. This is what NASCAR needed. When's the last time you turned on ESPN, Fox Sports, heck, anything, and seen this much NASCAR coverage? Yeah.
Entertainment value.
You'll have to lie. I mean, at the end of the day, it was a little fight. Cool, great, was what it was. They needed it. They need this shot in the arm, and they need the rivalries. We had the rivalries in the past. They've done such a horrible job of marketing NASCAR over the past 20 years. Literally, what other sport is going into their arenas and downsizing and taking out seats over and over and over, and now having to go back to their core tracks and going back to Darlington, these other tracks, and going, oh, let's do throwbacks and all that. Why? Because I'm trying to grasp those fans back. This is how you do it. This is old school NASCAR. This is Donnie Allison and Richard Petty. This is old school. And who better to do it than freaking Kyle Busch, racing for RCR, one of the most classic, world-renowned teams in NASCAR. Kyle Busch, who has been, I will say, and I've never been a fan of his. However, in the past 20 years, and I will argue anybody down, he's the best all-around driver NASCAR has seen. He's won in every single thing. He's won in Cup. He's won in Xfinity. He's won in trucks. You put him in any freaking thing, the dude can drive it. It's ridiculous. Oh, yeah. Right. He also has a snarky attitude and the most punchable face of any dude I've seen in that. But here's the thing about him and about NASCAR fans. And I listened to this on the Dale Jr. podcast. They said, everybody hated Kyle. People hate him until he signed with RCR. And once he became a Chevy driver and he became an RCR driver, people were like, he's all right. This is the best thing that can happen. I promise you, they need to milk it. And I'm sure behind the scenes, they're going to milk it. They got to promote the crap out of it.
Right. And hey, I want to say two things too on this real quick. Also, to me, dude, when I was growing up, when I first got into like really watching NASCAR, it's the same reason that people ambulance chase. I want to see a crash. I wanted to see somebody wreck. And so when you got somebody like Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator, or whomever it was, giving somebody a bump and run and wrecking them for the win, and then it creating drama after the fact, to me, that's like, you check all the boxes. You're entertaining in this, and this. I mean, it was good racing. And that's one thing NASCAR's done. They've had the closest finishes at the 1.5 mile tracks where the racing got really bland. They've been able to shrink it back a little bit. Granted, they took away some horsepower, but they've been able to shrink that field back together where it's created some really good finishes, and hopefully it creates more rivalries. And man, Ricky Stenhouse, dude, he just had a look in his eye. You could tell Kyle Busch was not walking away without getting punched in the face.
But you know something about NASCAR real quick. Sorry, Shane. Let me jump in real quick. This is about NASCAR in general, if you don't mind if I go down a different path. Kind of talking about marketing. So I'm going to ask Shane a question. And I'll ask JD. So JD, tell me about Jeff Gordon's car. Well, who was he sponsored by?
DuPont.
What was the color of his car?
Rainbow.
Shane Earnhardt. Who was he sponsored by?
Oh, Goodrich and Wrangler.
And what was the color of his cars?
Blue and yellow or black and red.
JD, Rusty Wallace. Who was his sponsor?
Miller Lite.
Color of his car?
Blue.
Okay, Shane, Jimmy Johnson. Color of his car and sponsor?
Lowe's.
Okay.
Silver and blue.
So start going down the path of, tell me about Stenhouse's sponsor. Tell me about Larson's sponsor. Tell me about what the color of their cars are. You can't anymore.
No,
you don't know week to week. You don't know who their sponsors are.
Yeah, they do change a lot more than they used to.
They used to have GM Goodwrench was the whole year. Miller Lite was the whole year.
Yeah.
DuPont was the whole year.
They only get like 4. Some of them only get like 1 race. To your point. Yeah, keep going, Greg. Yep, you're right. Though 100%.
So
they have to
this
supplement
is,
it.
I think, a problem. This is a problem in NASCAR. They've gotten to a point where it's become so expensive, and the sponsorships have become so spread out that I signed a contract with, I may have a primary sponsor of, say, I'll use Kevin Harvick back. He had Bush, he had Jimmy John's, he had Hunt's Brothers Pizza at one point. He had all these different people, and you didn't know what car was going to show up each week. I can't even go buy a jacket and promote this dude. So now how do I tune into a race and I'm not even sure who my driver is, because it would be like showing up, at least, like showing up to a Georgia game and not knowing, wait, what color are they going to wear today? Oh, they're blue today. Oh, wait, they're red and black. Wait, no, they're gray. No, they're going to be pink. Why? Because now we got T-Mobile sponsoring them this week, and then next week we got, AT&T sponsoring them, and then the next week we got Under Armour sponsoring them. You got all these different things. That's a problem, I think, when the marketing of NASCAR. You no longer have these identifiers with their sponsor. And while we always said, yes, we love the Earnhardt personalities, and we love the anti-Earnhardt that was Gordon. We like the snarkiness of different guys, and we like, Tony Stewart had that aggressiveness. But now we don't get that because they're all corporate. They're all very vanilla. And now we don't even know who their sponsors are week in and week out. We have a few, right? But even go down Chase Elliott is the most popular driver, and it's either going to be Hooters one week or Napa another week. So you can't even do that. So I think NASCAR needs to sit back and look at their marketing. But going back to this fight is a step, and these rivalries are a step. And the next step is, how do we sustain this? How do we go and make sure that people can identify, hey, this is Kurt Busch. He's the number 8 driver of X car. For the longest, he was the M&M's driver.
Yep.
Now he's not.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. And, my thing is, with that being said, I didn't grow up just on NASCAR. I was 6 weeks old. I was at a short track in the mountains of Virginia. I learned to count my numbers by watching cars go around the track. My 5th birthday was spent at Bristol Motor Speedways because I wanted to camp out there and go watch a NASCAR race for the first time. That is what I grew up on. Short track Saturday night racing. You go to any small town that has a track, dirt track, late models, concrete, anything. Go watch short track Saturday night racing. You will get the excitement that you saw Sunday night at North Wilkesboro, another short track, with a bigger, badder car, with more money involved into it. You saw what happened. They put them up into a bull ring. They put the fences around them. They close them in. They put $1 million on the line, and they say, "Here, have at it, boys." That is what NASCAR and the roots of NASCAR came from, is these short track Saturday night racing.
You said that there's a short track because, and JD knows this too, is the Pickens County Motor Speedway, which is in Pickens County where I'm at, and off of 123, which is a main thoroughfare easily over here. They are a dirt track. So during the summer times, we are maybe 12, 13, 14, 15 minutes away from there, and we can hear it at our house, and it's kind of entertaining to hear it because you're like, oh, they're racing here. They're going. Same thing when I lived in Woodstock. They have the speedway up in Woodstock, Georgia. Greg, I'm sure you know where that is too, in Woodstock. So the small towns is where it's at. It's a lot more entertaining. It's a lot more fun.
Hey, I went to the Lawrence County Speedway from the time I was like 10 years old. My mom would drop me off on a Saturday night. I'd sit there and I'd watch all the races from like 6 till about 9 o'clock. And I'm talking little Pintos, late models, sprint cars. I watched it all. There's nothing like good old small town dirt track racing.
No, there's not.
Just like there's nothing like the Sportz Nutz.
So yeah.
So I tell you, go if you want to see some good fights. Just go watch Bowman Gray clips. Bowman Graves, a little short track. They've got a football stadium right inside there in Winston-Salem. Hey, it is a true definition of a bull ring. I've seen cars and people torn up in the same evening there.
So we're gonna start doing our close. Before we do it, I wanted Greg to see because he didn't see it. This is what your card is gonna look like. The back and then the front.
Wait, I have a problem.
What?
If my card's going to look like that, it's got your name on it. That's not going to help me. Why would you give me cards that have Brandon on it? I need cards that have Greg T, not Brandon Keeler.
It says Brandon Keeler.
Say the man, the myth, the legend. They don't even say Greg. Actually, I think it says CRAIG.
So, Greg, we're gone over time, but Greg, talk about the Mixed Nuts program, and you had a little thing about the website possibly coming up soon. So share it with the fans so they get an idea, and then also the beauty merchandise you wear.
Yeah, for sure. So first off, the shirt. If you go look in the comments, we already posted it up in there. Go click on that. Yeah, and we'll get those sent out to you. They're like $20, I believe. All the money, money comes back to the show. Help us, be able to do some more things. Kind of transition into the Mixed Nuts. The Mixed Nuts, that should be up this week. We're testing out a form this past week to make sure it comes out correct. So all you're going to do, you're going to click a link. You'll fill out a form. It's not up yet. Watch our social media handles, and we'll post that up there as soon as it gets out there. Tell you a little bit about the Mixed Nuts. That's just our top fans. You guys are going to get some behind the scenes, some Q&As with us. Be able to come on to the show, ask some questions, bring up some points. You may have a point about something in NASCAR, something in the NBA Finals, WNBA, whatever it may be. We want your take. So only the Mixed Nuts are the ones going to come in and jump into this bowl that we have called the Sportz Nutz. So yeah, just stay tuned, watch for that, like I said, and also hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on Facebook, and let us know what else you want to see. I mean, whether it's Mixed Nuts, whether it's some other merch, which is going to be coming, whether it's some promo cards, and please put out there that I can't have cards with Brandon's name. It makes no freaking sense. Please put that out there.
This says Greg Troxel here. Come on.
I mean, Brandon's a little slow sometimes, y'all. I understand, but hey, that's what happens when you move into the Carolinas.
Ooh.
Hey, let me go ahead and jump in here too. I appreciate everybody watching. Shout outs to Trey Davis. Hey, I forgot to do this. Shout out to my Gamecocks today. Man, we haven't played 4 games in Hoover, Alabama in like 28 years, bro. We get at least 4 games. We've won 2 in the SEC tournament after losing 6 in a row. The only thing we're consistent at is being inconsistent, but hey, it's all right. We're all going to make it till tomorrow. I'm JD Wyatt 06 on Twitter. This has been a blast of an episode, man. I loved all these topics. Can't wait to see you guys next time.
Y'all, this has been a fantastic episode. We have got so much good stuff coming. It's summertime, y'all. We here. We made it. Yes, sir. Greg, give your shout outs and give your socials, man. They want to hear it, brother.
Shout outs just to everybody out there. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in, hitting us up throughout the week. My socials, you see it right down here. Boom, at the Greg Troxel. That'll hit me up on Instagram and on X. So just hit me up anytime at the Greg Troxel.
Oh, hey, thank you for calling X. We, Greg, you missed it earlier. We had to call out Elon Musk or anybody at Twitter that could help us out with Shane's Twitter, man. It's been a battle. We've all tried. Elon Musk, a technical wizard. Somebody help us out with Shane O'Mac 1240 on X, not Twitter.
Shane, give your shout outs and give your current active socials that people can reach out to you and.
Okay, yeah, as always, hey, I'm so grateful. My heart is full. Everybody watching, everybody that's been out there listening, I enjoy it. Hope y'all keep joining us. Hope you spread the word. Hey, I want to hear everybody's opinions and stuff. We're more than willing to get out there and we're gonna get dirty on some of these topics. Eventually.
Sure.
Hey, I'm ready for it. As always, you find me on Facebook, Shane Owen, Instagram, S.Owen1240. Snapchat, Shane O'Mac 1240. Hit me up. Hopefully we'll have some great things coming out. Possibly maybe even some tumblers with some logos on it.
I'm digging it. I'm digging it.
Look forward to that.
JD, shout outs to the socials, man. Get it going.
Hey, shout out Trey Davis, Madcraft, Shane Barrett. Thank you for not making me talk about you with your shirt off. Appreciate everybody for watching. I'm JD Wyatt06 on X, not Twitter. Somebody get Shane's Twitter fixed or X fixed. I'm done talking about it. Be blessed, everybody. Peace, love, bacon, grace.
Yep. Follow me, Brandon Keeler, on Facebook, at Keeler Brandon on Twitter. I'm going to call it Twitter. Follow us on the Sportz Nutz on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. We're creating one now. Get it going, y'all. For my man, the myth, the legend, Greg Troxel, my buddy Shane, my boy JD, and our man Nick, he's still with us. Thank God he is watching with us. We love you, brother. Hey, I'm Brandon. We thank you guys so much for tonight. We may have another episode coming this week, and we will let you know. So until then, Shane, what do you say?
Hey, peace, love, and bacon grease.
Guys, take care. Bye. Get out of here.